What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first ever episode of the CMSV show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Adam Krieger. Across the table from me, on your right, it's the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Pincus. Matt or Matthew?
Matt.
Matt. Yeah. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Matthew Stafford stuff that was going on, but it's very Kelly, his wife, is very clear that's Matthew Stafford. Anyway. So, we're doing a show live, not live this episode, but next week we'll be live. We're in the Mount St. Vincent radio studio, beautiful studio. It is cool to have all this professional equipment in front of us. Anyway, why we're doing this show? So, let's rewind a little bit. I got a little bit of myself. So I'm Adam Krieger. I am a second semester senior, graduating in May. Knock on wood. Hopefully everything all goes smoothly. Matt, also a senior. Hopefully. I think you're graduating in May, right?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. Same thing applies. Please register. Help us out if you're listening. So we were kind of, blessed with an opportunity to do a podcast for school credit, which is something that most institutions don't offer. But yeah, so we both need independent study. Shout out Dr. Crownover, put this all together, told us how to do it, made it possible for us to do this for 3 credits as a replacement for a class. And don't worry, whoever registrar, auditor, whoever's listening, we're doing the work. But it is cool to not be in a traditional classroom and get some credits. And honestly, this is probably, in my opinion, the way college should operate. You're doing stuff, you're learning hands-on. This is the way to do it. So Matt is on the lacrosse team. So this podcast is going to be cool. It's going to be half New York sports, half Mount St. Vincent sports. Kind of the meaning why it's CMSV, Adam and Matt, but also it's going to be a morning show. Maybe not be morning to the people that are listening, because if you don't wake up at 11 or 10, it's not your morning, but it's noon, but, it's morning for college kids. So for now, for the next 3.5 months, it's going to be Adam and Matt. And then hopefully in August, September, it's taken over by 2 more aspiring graduates who are interested in the podcast field. But for now, it's Adam and Matt. So I'm going to let Matt kind of get in a little more details about what's going on with the show and how we're doing it and how we're operating it.
All right. So, we're going to be operating this mainly half New York sports, half CMSV. As you can tell by the sweatshirt, huge Rangers fan. It's a big season for the boys. We're going to be covering a lot of the Rangers. I'm also a big lacrosse fan. Not too much lacrosse happening in New York, but, we got the Syracuse Orange. Not a huge fan, more of a John Hopkins fan, but we'll be throwing in any kind of sports New York related. And then the second half of the show, we got half CMSV sports. So I'm a member of the men's lacrosse team here at the Mount. I also have good friends on the men's baseball team, the softball team, women's lacrosse, and men's volleyball. We'll be taking an in-depth look at each of those sports throughout the year. And we will even be taking a look back to our spring sports, or our fall sports, should I say, that had an amazing year. Probably one of the best semesters we've had athletics-wise at this school, with our men's soccer team winning their first ever championship, the women's team making a run in the playoffs. It was just a very exciting time, and we're going to try to get on as many guests as we can from the different sports, get a little insight here, how sports are at the Mount for potential students coming in. Lovely place here. It's beautiful. Hudson River looking right onto us. Smells a little weird, but it's definitely beautiful to look at.
That's just the river. The river smells a little bit weird sometimes. But yeah, I'm truly excited about the show. I could talk about New York sports for hours and hours. Unfortunately, as of the time of recording, there is no baseball even on the horizon, which is absolutely atrocious. Shame on Rob Manfred. Also shame on the players a little bit too. I hate the player shame, but let's make a deal, folks. Let's try and play some baseball. Anyway, I live and die by the Mets. I watch, I would say, if not all 162 games, I watch at least 155 to 160, just depending on how the work schedule works, But, it's unfortunately there's no Mets right now. There's no baseball at all. So, and the best part about being a Mets fan is equally as much hating the Yankees. So I'm sure there will be a lot of Yankee slander on these airways, but don't get ahead of yourself. So kind of how the show's going to operate. Matt laid it out. It's going to be a little bit of New York sports, a little bit of Mount St. Vincent sports, but also every week we're going to have a recurring segment. We're going to be doing top fives. So either, for this week we're doing top 5 movies, a little bit of spoiler, but so during top 5 movies, Matt and I are just going to brainstorm about probably 10 to 15 movies, and we're going to rank them top 5. Talking pre-show, there's a one consensus number one, I think, for us. But we can't spoil that a little bit. But we're going to be bringing in guests. Probably not every week, just because it's a little bit hard to schedule guests to come in the middle of the school day. But we have some things lined up. It's going to be cool. Again, I just want to say, big thank you to Dr. Crownover for making this happen. Also, huge shout out to Mr. Bobby Williams, kind of, little peek behind the glass here. This is our 3rd time trying to do this today. First audio, then freaking visual difficulties. It's gonna be an issue. I guess one other thing is, like, this isn't my only podcast. I've done podcasts before in the past. However, this is my first school podcast. So I'm gonna have to be able to be a little bit more cautious of my language sometimes. The New Yorker in me, if someone cuts me off, I'll hit them with probably 6 or 7 4-letter words in a row. So, but no, the school project, it's to be published on YouTube. I guess that's the other thing. So going forward, YouTube didn't verify us in time to do this show live, but
shout out YouTube for that one. Thank you.
Disaster. But yeah, so going forward, we're gonna be doing this live every Thursday at 12. Probably the broadcast will go live at 11:55. The show will start at 12 o'clock Eastern time. You guys can join in. The YouTube channel is AM CMSV 22. We're going to be pushing that out hard across the various social media platforms. Those are going to be also our social accounts. So on Twitter, it's going to be AM CMSV 22. Also on Instagram, same thing. We're putting clips up. But the most important part about doing this live is that we have the live chat feature. So, you want to ask us a question, you disagree with what we're saying, you agree with what we're saying, let us know. Hop in the chat. It'd be cool for us, and we appreciate obviously everyone listening and everyone who tunes in. But overall, we're trying to grow this podcast not only for ourselves, but trying to get a good grade. I'm trying to get an A. So. It's good. It's all uphill work, but we're gonna be getting there. I guess, So today we got in store a little bit of Super Bowl cleanup. Nothing too crazy. I know Matt's not the biggest football guy, but I know he watched the game, so we'll talk. We'll riff a little bit about that, and then we'll do. I think we're gonna go Mount St. Vincent lacrosse preview.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go top 5 because I like ending out top 5 because then. It's an easy clip. You can put it out, get some discussion. I think that's probably a good way to wrap it up almost every week. So we're going to do that. Anything else? Anything we missed in the intro?
No, I think we got that all. Maybe a little Rangers action. I'll give it a little 2-minute segment. Got a lot to say. The boys are looking good, but, there's some changes need to be made. And we'll get into that later in the show. But let's just hop right into it. Super Bowl, baby.
State of the Rangers. I love a good Rangers meltdown. Yeah, Super Bowl. So I know you watched. Obviously, the Rams won by 3. It was 23-20. I think that was the right score. Rams did not cover the spread. In case it's legal in New York now. This is the first time I'm doing a podcast where sports gambling is legal in New York, and we're allowed to openly talk about it. Little sidebar. The amount of people that sports bet now is incredible, dude. Every class I walk into, there's at least 5 or 6 guys that are talking about their bad beats, like who they have, like the spreads, like it's
Got
crazy.
Picks today? Any picks?
That's the one thing is now that everyone's doing it. Like, I'm one of those people where I'm not. I use the term live bullets. I'm not gambling right now. Responsible gambling. We're still in school. I don't have a job, so I'm not gambling right now. But when I am firing bullets, it's if I hear a pick, I can't not take it. So that's gonna be an issue for me in school. I might have to wait until I'm out of Mount St. Vincent because those people, all these kids. I'm not a big NBA guy, and I'm sitting in the class with probably like 5 or 6 like big NBA fans, and they're all just rattling off picks, player props, and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I believe you, and I don't even really know your name. Like how? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And so that is a little. The gambling sports and legally in New York has kind of just changed the game, and honestly, it's awesome for sports fans, for DraftKings, FanDuel, all those shareholders, but
also great for the city. Lots of tax money coming off of that one.
Quick side note on that, it is a little bit ridiculous that New York is taking 50% of all profits from the books. That is ridiculous, but that's just I don't do politics. So, Super Bowl cleanup. Matthew Stafford was the MVP after throwing 2 interceptions. I really thought it should have been. No, sorry. It was Cooper Kupp was the MVP, which I'm glad. He got 2 touchdowns. I really thought they were going to give it to Stafford because, you always typically the winning quarterback gets it, but I didn't think Stafford was really worthy this year, so that was good. Yeah. But I think overall, you can tell me how you feel about this as more of a casual football fan. I thought the game was kind of boring, considering the 2 teams, the star power. After Odell got hurt, the game kind of was just a little bit sad to me. I don't know. It wasn't exciting. It didn't feel like a Super Bowl until the last 6-7 minutes of the game.
Yeah, definitely. But one thing, Cooper Kupp, don't watch too much football this year, but I know Cooper Kupp got the Triple Crown of football.
Crazy.
That's just absurd. And, that last drive that I'm going to say Detroit. I'm thinking Stafford. He's rotting in there in Detroit for so long. But, L.A., that last drive, that 4th and 1, 4th and 2, give Cooper Kupp on a little sweep to the outside. That's a absolute hell of a play. And that gave it to them. Right there, they had the momentum. You come down the field. Cooper Kupp winds up getting that touchdown to put him ahead. And honestly, I think he deserved it. I was not a huge football fan, but, one with the memes. Love Joe Shiesty. He's definitely going to be back. That kid is just absurd. Coming off an ACL injury last year in his freshman campaign, his rookie campaign. I think that the Bengals are going to be a tough team come in. Even this year, they're a tough team. Coming back from the Chiefs being down, 21-3 or something?
Yeah, it's not the first time they came back from down all those points from the Chiefs. I think the one thing about the Bengals that sticks out to me is that they lost to the Jets. They lost to the Jets, and they lost to the Bears.
Oh, also, Rams lost to the Jets, too, this year.
Did they? Yeah. Was that this year? You're right.
Big year for the Jets. Big year for the Jets.
Crazy. I probably should have said that in the intro, even though football season's done. I am a Jets guy. But I don't tout that because the Jets haven't been good since Mark Sanchez, which
Butt fumble.
Crazy Mark Sanchez. Yeah, the butt fumble literally ended my Jets fandom. Anyway, more importantly, I think this was the best Super Bowl halftime show I can remember.
100%.
And even we're a little bit young to remember Dre and all those guys in their prime, but I mean, the songs were 10 out of 10 hits. They had so many people. I mean, are you a rap guy or
big Eminem guy back in the day? The real Slim Shady was my jam for about 2.5 years when I was little. That was great seeing him on there. Even Kendrick Lamar,
That's my contention is I had gotten into a few heated debates on the Monday after in class about this with our guy Gilbert, but Kendrick Lamar did not belong on the same stage as those guys. I love Kendrick. He has great music. His song was good that he performed. But, I mean, when you're listing those greats, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, I don't know about that one, fellas. But and maybe that they needed a little bit of a connection to younger people. But it's just such a, and then you get to see on each social media platform you go on, you get different feedback. Facebook hated the halftime show. I mean, I think you guys can probably read between the lines and figure out why they hated it. Twitter loved it. Because Twitter's all at least my Twitter's all sports fans from literally that are 15 to late 40s. But that's the prime era of these guys' music. And then I'm not really a big TikTok guy, but I'm sure TikTok did not love the halftime show just because of all those kids don't know who he is. There
was no dancing. There's no
what? There's no Addison Rae up there. They're not hitting the WAP or whatever the heck these kids are saying nowadays. So I I do think we'll probably get a more traditional halftime show next year, but I do want to say that this was arguably probably one of my favorites. Other than I think it was Lady Gaga jumping off the roof of the Super Bowl all those years ago. This like the performance was great. I like the cars coming out at the end, so it comes full circle from when they introduced them. The Super Bowl halftime show being in LA, the Super Bowl being in LA was awesome just for like the entertainer standpoint and everything like that. But I mean, everything else like I think I'm over the Super Bowl being in a home team stadium. That's just kind of they had these plans years and years out, so I know they can't really change it, but it just feels weird and dirty to have it be your home stadium for the Super Bowl. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Also, like, they do it so many years in advance. It's kind of crazy, Tom Brady just came out of nowhere. It's just like, yeah, sign with the Bucs. Why not? And then, bang, they had the Super Bowl, and they're playing in their home stadium. I think that's a little bit of an unfair advantage, but once you get to that point, there's going to be, even though you're in, let's say this year, LA, there's going to be a lot of, Rams fans, obviously, but it's still the Super Bowl. People go to the Super Bowl every year from all over the country just to see the game, because that is the biggest game in North America probably. And
For sure.
I think it's a little interesting. I think they might have to look into changing it a little up, but I think it was interesting.
Or we should have to find out where they're playing the Super Bowl next year. I know it's not like a secret. I can just open up the old Google machine and figure it out and place a wager on that team to win the Super Bowl, because that seems to be the way to do it. 2-0 in the last 2 years. A few other interesting notes in the Super Bowl. The top 10 cities where the Super Bowl was watched. LA was not in the top 10. Not shocking because, no one in LA is a Rams fan. It's just the way it is. I've been to California like once or twice in my life. I know like maybe one or two people from California, but like I feel like it's hard to care about sports when you're in such a beautiful place like LA and all the time. Like they care about like the Kardashians and like gossip maps, not Matt Stafford running the ball and Cooper Kupp. One thing you said earlier I wanted to touch on is that you got to get the ball in your best player's hands, and McVay did that in the 4th and 1, and then he knew he drew up a little defensive scheme for Donald to make that last play on the last 4th and 1 when the Bengals had 4th and 1.
Last 2 tackles of the game, Aaron Donald literally looked like a monster. At the beginning of the game, I felt like I was really not seeing anything from him. And the last 2 plays, he came alive, and he looked like the beast that he is. Don't watch too much of Aaron Donald, but, you look at the guy, you look at that stature, he should be doing that all game long.
Anyone who trains with knives is a certified baller in my book. I mean, that guy, every offseason, he's got a video of him like fighting hands with knives because, as a defensive lineman, you're not trying to get you're trying to get their hands off you, so they come at you with knives. You do a little arm blocks, those type of things, and you get them off. So that part was cool, and I guess maybe it was just me and like where I was watching the Super Bowl, but I didn't really like pay attention too much to the commercials, except one. I love the Coinbase commercial.
Just about to say that.
The QR code bounced back and forth. I think they were the clear winner of the commercial game. Usually Budweiser has a good one, and a lot of the traditional beer companies do. But yeah, the Coinbase one was everyone who I was watching with was like, "What is going on? Like, what happened? Like, did our cable go out? Like, what happened?" It was so successful that the Coinbase website crashed, which was not surprising, but a little bit crazy. And then ultimately, the best part about that was that the QR code finally hit the corner. It perfectly ended it. You know how that's like a big that's a big internet meme where it bounces around and it never like truly hits the corner. It hit the corner.
That was not gonna lie, I got really hyped for that.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Crazy.
It's the little things. Our brands are so simple. We just want to see cool colors and things hit the corners and be symmetrical. Did you scan the QR code or no?
I did. Actually, no. I didn't. I was with my roommate. He scanned it. I was just kind of looking at it for a second. I was like, what is this? Like, who's paying millions of dollars to put this on the screen? And then, once you scan it in, because who's using Coinbase? It's not going to be some dinosaur that doesn't know what a QR code is. So as soon as that popped up, the phones came out. Everyone started, clicking on it, seeing what it was.
I guess it was truly depending on where you were watching. Because I was watching it with a little bit of, not old people, because they listen to this, they're going to kill me. But, they're older than me, and they're not so much in the crypto world and she looked at me. She goes, "What's wrong with the TV?" Like, I don't know. It's a commercial. It's a Super Bowl. Like, I don't think NBC is crashing in the Super Bowl. But so that was that. I mean, anything else really in terms of Super Bowl? I mean, it was kind of a boring game. I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. Happy for Kelly Stafford. You know, I was listening to a podcast interview with her a few days before, and she was like, "Yeah, I mean, we went from being like the biggest stars in Detroit to now
in Detroit,
right? Actually, riding in Detroit. But I mean, Lions fans love football. Detroit's a great sports town, even though they've been pretty much unsuccessful the last like decade plus. I'm sure they were really happy for him, but it was funny. She was telling a story. She's like, I went from being neighbors with some old guy named Ron or whatever his name was, who was like picking on my mail, and now my new neighbor is Kylie Jenner. And she was like, we used to go out to dinner every time in Detroit, and everyone would know who we are. Now we go out in LA, and maybe one person knows who we are because A, they don't care about sports out there, and B, she was right. She described her as like a Z-list celebrity out there, and which is, probably the God's honest truth. You're living next to Kim K, Kylie, and I don't even know who else lives out in LA, but like big time movie stars, big time musicians. Yay, God, we could do it. We could do another half hour on Yay alone. Yeah, I mean, I would say next week, we're gonna. Now I'm fully locked into hockey season. Right now I'd be locked into, baseball, spring training, making sure that all that stuff is getting ready. It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. So I'd say next week it's gonna be a little bit more New York sports. We got the Islanders, Devils, even though they're Jersey, they're in the New York region. Yuck. And the Rangers, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think that's anything else from that. I mean,
you're talking about the Rangers. I can go on for
yeah. You know what?
a little bit on that.
Yeah,
one.
do your Rangers. Give me your Rangers recap. Your Rangers weekly recap. This is going to be a staple segment in the show.
All right, so Rangers got one game in the past 2 weeks. Coming off the All-Star break, every team in the show is playing besides the Rangers. Kind of crazy in my opinion, but getting Adam Fox back, who is an absolutely huge part of the team, getting Igor Shesterkin back on his game is just. It's unbelievable to watch. I've been blessed my whole life watching Henrik Lundqvist in between those pipes. Man made everything look easy. Some of the beach ball shots he'd let in, but then, he's getting a one-timer from Alex Ovechkin 5 yards out, and he's making a blocker save. Just insane stuff I've seen out of him. Igor, he's got to get the Vezina this year. I think that this Rangers team statistically is one of the worst teams in the whole league. But they win games. They're top 3 in the Metro. Now, I wouldn't say one of the best divisions in hockey, years past. Definitely top to bottom, had 8 teams that would make the playoffs and probably make a push for it. But now, the Flyers dropping off a little bit. The Devils are the Devils.
Flyers drop off a little bit or a lot of it? I've been reading a little bit about the Flyers. I know they're in disaster mode. Disaster.
Hey, but they got a good young goalie. Carter Hart is a good player. He shined for Canada in the World Juniors 2 years ago against, Trevor Zegras, Cole Caulfield, Matt Boldy from Minnesota. That was an insane team. Loved watching the World Juniors every year. But, the Rangers, speaking of junior players, Alexis Lafreniere being a first overall pick, I'm just not seeing the production that I would want out of a first-round pick, or first overall pick, should I say. And, he's coming into it. It's weird, the Rangers have Panarin and Kreider obviously locked in at the 2 left wing spots. And Lafreniere is a left winger, but he doesn't really seem to put that much effort in on the right wing. Doesn't look that adaptable over there. So that's a little bit of a problem for the team. We're looking for a right winger, possibly a JT Miller slide in over there. But I don't know. I don't think I'm giving up Niels Lundqvist, Brandon Schneider for JT Miller. He was here a couple years ago. We dealt him for a reason. And, he's definitely playing a lot better than he was when he was on the Rangers, but I'm just not willing to give up some of the plethora of prospects that we have. And, Vitaly Kravtsov, send him back to Russia, get him out of the system. I think that's utterly disgusting what he did to the Rangers. You get drafted on this team. If they don't want you playing the top 2 lines, you're on the 3rd line. You got to work your way up. Everyone's got to do it. Lafreniere still plays fourth line minutes, even though he's technically on the first and second line most nights. You got to really earn your play here. Gerard Gallant is an amazing coach. I don't know how he does it. Gets this team that is statistically one of the worst teams in the league to win games every night. It's just really crazy. Back off Igor Shesterkin. Absolutely insane. But, I'm excited. We got Detroit today, who's on the up and coming. I've known Detroit from when I was little as one of the best teams in the league every year in, year out, making the playoffs for 27 straight years, I want to say. They had a little bit of a drop-off, but they're led by two absolutely insane rookies, Moritz Snyder and Lucas Raymond, with Dylan Larkin leading it up top as the captain. I think they're a very good team, but, I'm expecting my Rangers to pull out tonight. I'm looking for Adam Fox above 2 assists, maybe a Kreider goal, and I'm feeling Zibanejad tonight.
Ooh, I wonder what that parlay plays out. Yeah, a little bit of Ranger stuff. I know you're not going to want to hear this, but, I grew up a Rangers fan, obviously. If you like hockey in New York, you grew up a Rangers fan, unless you're literally from Long Island. But watching the ceremony, and they gave Lundqvist his beautiful, well-deserved, they retired his number, they did all this stuff. He didn't win a Stanley Cup, which is crazy to think about. The Rangers could not win a Stanley Cup under, when you have the best goalie in the NHL. So I know that's like it's a low hanging fruit to make that comment. It's just the God's honest truth.
Yeah, no, it's true. Coming from a Rangers fan, I've watched so much of Dan Girardi sitting in front of Lundqvist like an absolute pylon. Shots are coming past his face up into the top corner of the net most nights, but just watching Mark Stahl, Ryan McDonough, who I didn't rate too highly. He's playing good in Tampa, but watching that team play, Ryan Callahan as the captain back then, it was crazy. I was just 2014. I stayed up watching that Game 6 in Los Angeles. It was probably like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I watched that game. That was brutal.
I remember tears coming from the eyes, watching that Alec Martinez goal going in. And even during the Hank ceremony, looking back at all these memories that I've had, watching these games. That was my childhood, me and my dad every night. Get on the couch, watch the Rangers, talk a little smack, as we do. But just watching
all
that
fathers and sons do.
crazy.
Talk a little bit of smack. Yeah, that Rangers run was incredible. I think maybe this is just because he plays in it was the Kings, but I thought Jonathan Quick was to be the next best guy in the world, and he just kind of is he even still in the league?
He's still playing right now.
Is he on the Kings still?
Mm-hmm. He's a backup now. They got Cal Peterson starting over him. But, he played against the Rangers a couple weeks ago. And, it looked like prime 2014 Jonathan Quick in there.
Of course.
He just beat him out in the shootout, which was crazy. Adam Fox absolutely dangles Quick in the net and then puts it top shelf on the backhand. Didn't even see the puck go in. I'm celebrating. I don't even know if it's in. But, he's still a good goalie. Kings are on the up and coming again this year, but he's definitely not like he was in 2014.
I guess a little bit of hockey talk. This is the first year that they're getting nationally broadcasted games consistently. The TNT and Turner Sports put together. They're inside the NBA version of that on. The NHL. They got Gretzky, they got Biz, they got a bunch of guys. Do you like that show?
Oh, I love it. Having Biz, I love the Spittin' Chicklets podcast too. I listen to that all the time. Having the great one, Wayne Gretzky, sitting across the table from this goon is
he wasn't
just
there last
so
night.
Crazy.
Gretzky wasn't on the show last night.
Really? I haven't been watching Rangers. I haven't been on too much, but usually an MSG guy. But the first couple of weeks of the season, shout out ESPN for making that deal go through. NBC wasn't doing it too much for the NHL, but ESPN looks like they have a huge fan base, especially the way they've been pushing basketball over the last couple of years. Not a huge basketball fan myself, but seeing the highlights on SportsCenter every night.
Yeah, but
7 out of 10 plays basketball.
My question is why they put it on ESPN Plus. That is.
Yeah, I hate that.
It's brutal. And if it's gonna be on ESPN Plus, you gotta at least have the local networks be able to pick it up so you can watch it. In your, because if the Rangers are playing on ESPN Plus, you can't watch an MSG. Not only can you not watch an MSG, you can't watch it. It's not going to be on your typical broadcast. My dad called me up the other day. It was probably a few weeks ago. He was like, "Adam, how do I watch the game? It's on ESPN Plus. What do I do? I was like, Dad, hold on, like relax, I'll set it up for you. He's like, this is bullshit. Like, how come we can't watch it on TV? And I honestly, I couldn't give him a good answer.
Yeah, same thing with my dad.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a little bit of the TNT broadcast just because I'm interested in, to see how they market NHL, because I think NHL is an awesome sport. Watching these players play obviously on ice, but they're so fast, so quick, so physical. Like, I know they've had problems broadcasting, hockey across TV because casual fans don't understand it, and it's hard to follow the puck. And part of that comes with good production value. You need to have great cameramen that are learning how to follow the puck and you get stuff behind the play. And there's so much going on, but yeah, I mean, for them to TNT is doing a much better job than ESPN in my opinion with this. Obviously, it's a little bit different when you don't have to put it behind a paywall. I think I'm just anti-paywall. That's kind of where I'm landing on everything. I just hate, my woke theory is that everything's breaking up into all these streaming services. You got Peacock, you got NBC. I mean, you got Peacock, you got ESPN Plus. You got all these various platforms, and the first person that bundles all of them again is going to make a lot of money. And then we're all going to look back and be like, wait, we just had cable, which was everything just bundled into one service and one payment. That's what annoys me. I got the 15th, I got this coming out. The 17th, I made this one. My resubscription ends on this day. It's just all this so much stuff going on. But in terms of I can understand a good way to grow the sport by having it behind a paywall and making it inaccessible to most people. Mm-hmm. And they have a good broadcast team. I mean, who does? Melrose is on that call. Is on the ESPN Plus one. I mean, Barry Melrose is arguably one of the most famous hockey analysis commentators. Obviously a former coach. He's got so much insight. Why can't ESPN just we got Monday Night Basketball on ESPN, Friday Night Basketball on ESPN, Wednesday night, whatever, all the various freaking days are doing ESPN basketball. Slip hockey in there. Put it on the main broadcast. Even if you put it on ESPN too.
It's still on there, yeah.
Do something behind putting it on ESPN Plus and making it impossible for people to watch. And the other thing with that is, I hate watching things on streaming, sports on streaming services, because it's on a delay. If you're like me and you have ADD and you're on Twitter while you're watching the game and you're following along with all the Rangers beat reporters and all the Rangers fans, you could have watched something that they saw 2 minutes ago. The beat reporters are obviously in the stadium still, so they're tweeting out goal, yada yada yada, and they somehow get stuff out so rapidly quick, which is, I would love to talk to honestly any beat reporter who's in the stadium has Twitter and able to get off all these these tweets so quickly. But when you're watching something on a streaming platform, if your thing lags for 2 seconds, now you're a full 2 seconds behind. And in any sport, that's such a big difference. And it's just that's just my little pet peeve with ESPN right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a description. Every Rangers game night, me and my roommate Sawyer Davis always got the game on the big screen. But like Adam said, both of us are scrolling through Twitter, got all the notifications going for the Rangers just in case we miss a game. And, we're watching, and all of a sudden, Sawyer turns to me and goes, "I'm feeling a Kreider goal." I'm like, really? You think so? Bang. 2 seconds later, he's sitting at the back post, tapping in a goal.
He's giggling. He saw 5 people tweet about it on Twitter. Great goal by Kreider. It's just annoying, and especially if you're gambling on it, not being able to see it first, and having imagine finding out you lost your bet because Twitter told you before your eyes told you, before the TV told you. That would drive me absolutely insane. Yeah, so I guess we'll definitely be doing some hockey stuff. I guess I'm not really a big Ranger guy. I'm a Hurricanes guy at the moment, but also they're a wagon. They played a crazy game last night. They got a point against Florida, but we always want 2 points, especially when you're playing at such a top competitive team in the division. But yeah, so definitely going forward, we're gonna have Matt's Rangers recaps, whether that's full 2 minutes, 5 minutes, however long he wants to vent about the Rangers. I'm just gonna let him rock, because if they're honestly, in terms of content, if someone's having a bad week, and if good teams are having bad weeks, hearing the fans' hot takes and all their crazy reactions is music to my ears. So if you're not into that kind of content, I'm sorry, you might check the skip that week.
Definitely got some hot takes flying. I don't know, Igor for Vezina. You think that's a hot take? Who else you got up there? Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell's playing well.
Yeah, I don't know at this point. it's all gibberish to me. So, like I said, I watch the Hurricanes, and that's about it. And I'll watch Inside the NHL because I love Biz. That's just a great. I don't know if they're gonna be able to replicate how great Inside the NBA was, and that's just because hockey players aren't as well known as basketball players because of the helmets for so many different various reasons. But as soon as hockey starts developing these personalities, like Biz was kind of the first one to break through the mold, where he had 1 million followers on Twitter. Like I think right before his career, like right before he was done playing. It's just because he's, it's rare to find hockey players with personalities, and especially while they're playing. Hockey's a little bit outdated in that sense, where everything stays in house. I still laugh out loud when they just say lower body injury or upper body injury. Like meanwhile, the NFL, MLB, you're getting 4 or 5 updates a week on what happened, what tendon it was, like what each different surgeon says, and you can have a concussion and the team will just be upper body
injury out for 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Capo Caco's been out for like 2 months. Still haven't heard anything from it.
Exactly. It's and like in terms of gambling stuff, that's going to be a big. That's going to be a big issue because people are going to want to know. And injury reports were literally created for gamblers, so they know who's going to play, who's not going to play. And now, like, you're going to have some issues with that coming down the road. All right, I think that was a good hockey segment. That was good hockey. That was a lot more hockey than I thought I would be able to talk. So I'm happy with that. Let's do the lacrosse preview. Tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on. I know you guys. Did you play last year?
Sadly, we did.
Yeah, but, I didn't. It's a tricky line for me to tell because I'm not currently playing sports, but from my knowledge, the lacrosse program hasn't been the best over the last few years.
So that's definitely fair to say.
All right, so but it's just you're going to be different.
Oh yeah, you know what? Like last year, coming from all our COVID problems, but just playing all the conference games. Skyline Conference. Every other sport, you got those 2-3 teams every year that are stellar. But lacrosse, it's a little different. We got 8 teams, 7 of them could be in the top 3 at any time of the season. But, playing those games last year, coming out 0-5, not too great. But right before COVID hit, sophomore year, starting off 3-0, having those non-conference games, getting our feet wet, getting the freshmen into it. Really helped us out, getting that 3-0 record, first undefeated record, probably biggest win streak this program has ever had. My freshman year coming in, winning a home game against our opponent on Saturday, Albertus Magnus, first home win in men's lacrosse CMSV history. That was pretty crazy to be part of. Yeah, great. I didn't even know until after the game.
Around?
I want to say probably like 10, 15 years.
No,
crazy talk,
bro.
Adam.
That's crazy.
I swear. But, that was a good game. My teammate Pat Nagy kid had 11 points against Albertus Magnus. I was right behind him with 9, getting those 20 points as 2 freshmen. That was a crazy ride. Looking ahead, we got some great pieces coming in this year, some freshmen that are really going to be able to do the job for us. Coming out to Connecticut on Saturday, 1 o'clock game. Just a scrimmage, getting the freshmen into that, getting them into the feel of the game. It's going to be interesting, and I'm very excited to see. We have a defense led by 2 captains in Mac Doyle and Anthony Manna, who are returning players who are studs. Sawyer Davis in the net. Kid saves every single shot I take in practice. Shout out Soy. Love you, kid. But I'm very excited to see the guys get out there, really get down and dirty, get gritty. First-year head coach James Fitzgerald has been a part of the program for the last 8 years as a player, assistant coach, anything you can name. Now he's finally getting the nod at head coach. And, structures of practice, anything you can talk about, James Fitzgerald has really increased everything about this program, and I'm very excited to see the first product we can put out. Hopefully everyone can tune into that live stream, and, let's go Dolphins. It's a good day to be a Dolphin.
Nagy's a Shen boy, right? Shenandoah, yeah.
Yes, the Shen product. Kid was built in a laboratory.
I don't know much about high school lacrosse. I do know that Shenandoah is a powerhouse, and they have been in basically all sports. But I know lacrosse is like their prime thing. Yeah, I met Matt our freshman year, and I was like, saw him wearing the green hoodie with the Shen on. And I was like, why are you here? Like, I was like, I thought all you got don't your backups go to Penn State or And he was like, yeah, but he's like, I don't know. And he's like, I'm just doing my thing. So That's cool. I didn't know Mac was a captain. We're gonna have to get him on. We're gonna have to get him on the airwaves.
Oh yeah, definitely. We just had Naki walking by, right before we started. During the first 2 takes. But yeah, we got 4 captains this year: Pat, Anthony Manna, Mac Doyle, and then me, myself. And I'm excited. Pat's being a captain from his sophomore year on. Me, Manna, and Mac are just kind of hopping on the train this year. Being leaders on the team, it doesn't really matter if you're a captain. You got something to say, you got something to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's college. Everyone kind of knows what this about. It's not like high school sports where you're just like, you have to listen, you follow, like, that kind
whatever
of like
captain says
hierarchy.
goes.
Right, yeah, like, no, you guys are on college. You got something to say it. Yeah, I mean, listen, Mount is having a crazy sports year. I know this is definitely the best year since I've been around. The soccer team won the conference. I think they almost
won that first round game in
right,
the NCAA.
Yeah, so I mean that was crazy. So I'm gonna try and that's the other thing. We're gonna try and bring in some, not only captains from the other teams, but just like bring in, players from the other seasons. I want to get a soccer guy in here to talk about their run. I know they had a first year head coach who's also kind of changed the game.
Coach Montera, great guy. Shout out Coach Montera, getting that team to the championship. What a crazy run that was, doing an internship with our SID director, Dan Federico. Shout out Dan. It was crazy, seeing that team come flourish throughout the season. I love soccer. I'm a huge Manchester United fan. But, U.S. soccer is a little bit different than European. But it was really nice to see them out there. The system that they were playing that 3-back is a very defensive-heavy setup, but having the attackers such as Ian Lamas and oh my God, freshman.
Yeah.
We had a stellar freshman this
year.
year. Look up his name, give him a little shout out. But that was just crazy how that team came together, and they looked solid.
It's crazy that the Mount might be like a force to be reckoned with in all Skyline Conference sports, because that was something I was not expecting when I came here. Hopefully, I mean, listen, the field you guys practice on, it's a blessing you guys make it all out of every game healthy. And I don't think I don't have any shame in saying that, because I think everyone knows it. And so I know I'm not like exposing anything crazy.
The Maryland Monster comes for everyone.
Dude, I grew up I played on a similar field like in high school, when it's like basically rocks everywhere. You don't know where the next pothole is. Like no ankle is safe. Like you gotta listen. You have to tape your ankles before every practice, because just for like preventative measures, you have an issue. And they're getting a new baseball field. I feel like I've been saying that for 2 years.
That's been in the works for probably like 6 years. Real quick, just wanted to head back to that. Carlos Romero, freshman of the year. Hailing from Mesquite, Texas. Going to see that championship game against Manhattanville. Missed the first goal of the game, which is kind of sad. But, second goal of the game, freshman gets the ball at the top of the box, roulettes 2 defenders and puts it into the bottom corner. That's just something, that's a type of poise you don't see coming from a freshman. So, huge shout out to Carlos Romero. We're definitely going to try to get him on the show this year, get a little insight of how that season went. And, really any of the sports. Joel Luna, great year.
I like that term, roulette. Is Joel the goalie? No, who's the goalie?
Joel's the goalie. Stellar year out of Joel.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on the show. I had class with him last semester, and he's like, oh, we're doing pretty well this year. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh, you guys are doing really well this year. And then, by the time we kind of become friendly, he's like, yeah, like we're going on a run, like conference championship. I was like, oh, okay, like cool. And then I was like, oh, you guys are like legit. And then I found out probably 2 weeks before the season was over that he was the goalie. I was like, oh, so you're the reason why you guys are staying, putting up all these crazy shutouts. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually pretty excited. Obviously I'm excited for the show in general, but I'm very excited to talk to other kids from the Mount on the athletic teams, kind of see how, especially like the older guys that have been here and they've seen the transitions. I feel like everyone's basically a new coach in their time here just because of the turnover, and not for anything that the administration can do here, but it's tough to be a D3 coach, especially up here. With the seasons, like in baseball, like you can't even practice outside right now in baseball. I don't know how you guys do in lacrosse. You showed me the other day. There was a picture, and it's like you're playing you're warming up in like 15-degree weather. Like it's miserable. Even though listen, we're both wearing shorts today. It is
beautiful out today.
64 degrees. God bless. I doubt we continue that. So we're taking advantage of every second of sunlight we get. All right. We're going to wrap up with our top 5 sports movies. But I think we're gonna make a big list, and then we're gonna sort it out. But I just think that there's one movie that we both know is the best sports movie of all time. You're a hockey guy. I'm not a hockey guy, but I still know this is the best sports movie of all time. It's been discussed a lot recently with the Olympics coming back around. Miracle is no doubt the best sports movie of all time.
Chills every time I see it.
Herb Brooks giving that speech. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit this, but I used to watch that speech before high school football games. Like,
hey,
tonight,
anything to get the motivation.
Tonight, fellas, like, yeah, and just like that entire movie, because obviously we were both born after that.
Oh, smoke the knee.
We gotta make sure we get some ice on that so we're able to play Saturday. Yeah, I mean, so obviously neither of us we watched that in real time, but I think that Disney did a great job of that movie and just kind of explaining what that moment meant to the world and the country, and it was just I watch that movie at least 3 times a year. A great movie. It's one of the few movies that I bought on iTunes, so I have it on my laptop at any given time. Pretty much every plane trip, it's what I'm watching. A, because it's already downloaded on my laptop, but B, it's just like it's a great movie. You can kind of go in and out of it and still know exactly what's happening. So yeah, Miracle's number 1. Now,
definitely consensus.
all right, now we can just rattle off a few.
Let me hear some hot takes, Adam.
Hot takes.
Let me hear.
My hottest sports movie take, low key, is that I don't hate Fever Pitch as much as everyone else does. That is the movie about the '04 Red Sox. Ben Stiller is, I think it's Ben Stiller. Yeah, Ben Stiller, Drew Barrymore, about their love life coinciding with the Red Sox. The movie gets a lot of hate because it's a little cheesy and very corny, but anything that goes along with defeating the Yankees, I'm all about it. So that's definitely one of them. And then, all right, let me hear some of yours.
All right, so real quick, not a huge football guy, as previously talked about on the show, but have to say, Rudy, absolutely great movie. Right next to it, I'm seeing the 42 Jackie Robinson movie. Absolutely stellar performance on that one too. Remember seeing that one in theaters.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
The Blind Side, can't go wrong with that. Sandlot, absolute classic. One that I watched with my dad, Slapshot, great movie. You got the triplets, the Hanson brothers, I think were their names. That was a comedy movie. But getting down to my favorites, obviously, I'm a huge Will Ferrell fan. Blades of Glory, absolutely hilarious.
I was gonna put that up as one of my sneaky funny. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of good ones. I mean, you got like the comedies. You got the Bad News Bears, the Dodgeballs, the Blades of Glory, the
Goon.
Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby. I personally love Major League as well. It's a great, it's a baseball movie. Even if we're getting really out there, like Basketball. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
I don't think I have.
Yeah, it won't make the top 5, but it's definitely up there.
Gotta get some honorable mentions in there.
Yeah,
the Mighty Ducks.
Oh,
Great movies.
I think that trilogy is almost warranting of a spot itself. But all right, let's just rattle it off. So we got 1, we got Miracle. I'll let you do 2, and then I'll do 3, and then 4, and then 5.
I have to go with 2 on this one.
Yeah, you got 2.
You want to start from the bottom? Because I got one more that I wanted to say and get to put in. But Dodgeball, that's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah.
Having a good childhood, watching that with one of my very good friends, Peter Fusco, watching that movie every time we saw each other, which was quite a lot back in the day. But that movie is just so great. Lucky the Irish. Shout out Hantoulhan, whatever his name was. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
The 5 keys and Dodge is in there twice, so 5 Ds, whatever it was. That makes me laugh out loud every time. If we're gonna do 5, I'm gonna throw Space Jam in there.
Okay, respectable.
Jordan, Looney Tunes, kind of everything you wanted. Keep the LeBron version as far away from this list as possible. I guess I am a little bit of a LeBron hater, but just
flop.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't have to go too much into that, but give me the original Space Jam. Keep the LeBron stuff, and nowhere near this list.
Also, another one I want to just give a little shout out to Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
absolutely great movie.
That was my 3.
All right, yeah, let's throw it in there at 3 then. And then my personal favorites. Obviously Miracle on Ice, consensus number 1. And then I'm looking. I'll throw Dodgeball in at the 5 spot.
Dodgeball is an incredible movie. I guess Glory Road, not funny. Obviously, super serious subject matter, but that was just like a great like inspirational story. So I loved doing that. Yeah, Glory Road's a great movie about the Texas Western team. Now it's University of Texas El Paso, but their national championship they won in the '60s when racism was at like an all-time high, segregation was at an all-time high. They went up into Kentucky, beat Adolph Rupp and like the powerhouse Kentucky team up there. It's a crazy movie, crazy storyline. So I'll throw that one in there.
Also give another football one. Absolutely great movie. Remember the Titans. That's another one that is huge on motivation. Absolute perfection, wanting from the coach. Forget his name. But absolutely great movie. I got chills the first time I watched that. Just watching this team come together and really get to where they want to be, and tragedy strikes, and they still push their way through, perseverance. I'm looking at that one for number 3 spot.
I guess. So, all right, let's do our 5 collective together, and then we'll get it out of here. So we got 1 is Miracle for sure. 2, who we got for 2? What do you want to do for 2? We got Dodgeball up there. We got we got Major League. We got Longest Yard. We got Talladega.
Longest Yard. I forgot about.
Yeah, I mean, in a different, if we would have been a little bit. I would say we're actually pretty well prepared for the show, but if we were just doing strictly top 5s, we would have done top 5 football, top 5 baseball, top 5 basketball, top 5 hockey / miscellaneous, because I think there's only like 3 good hockey movies created. All right, so we got Miracle 1. Who'd you have for 5? You had Dodgeball 5?
Yeah, Dodgeball at 5.
Dodgeball 2. What did I say? What did we just say? I don't even remember. We should have just done our own list. 2, we'll go with. Well, we can do Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
It's just like a classic movie. Has a little bit of comedy, a little bit of important messages. It's kind of got all of it. All right, give me 3.
3. I'm gonna say 42.
Really, it was a good movie. Yeah. You know what? I relayed that a little bit more quickly than I should have. It definitely belongs on the list. And then I guess I'm gonna cheat a little bit for this. I'm taking the Mighty Ducks trilogy for 4. Yeah, I think that's fair. They're good.
Love those movies.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely great.
And taking a trilogy for the 4th spot is a little bit cheating, but whatever it is. And then we'll wrap up with Dodgeball. Our top 5 sports movies of all time from the AM CMSV show. Number 1, no doubt about it, Miracle. 2, Remember the Titans. 3, 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. 4, the Mighty Ducks trilogy. I think there was 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 5, we'll gotta have a little bit of Dodgeball in there, a little bit of comedy. So we'll wrap it up with Dodgeball 5. Honorable mentions, I think we gotta do Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights, Major League, Glory Road. There's so many good sports movies, and actually, it's kind of we'll come full circle on the show before we get out of here. The opening that I forget who did it now. I'm drawing a blank, but they did a parallel between the sports world and movies, and like sports and movies, how they're both scripts and you just sit back and enjoy. That was a great like kind of like 5-minute opening to the Super Bowl. NBC did a good job with that. That was the only thing NBC did a good job of. I'll say that. I love Collinsworth, but I just thought that Al Michaels dropped the ball big time. And just for them to have the Super Bowl in the middle of when they paid all this money to have the Olympics, just doesn't seem like the best business model to me. Especially when the Olympics are down 50%. But that's just a different story. All right. 53 minutes, not bad.
Wow.
Oh, wow. We kind of went off a little bit. All right. So, thank you for watching. Next time, live, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, AM CMSV 22. We're going to be getting the socials up and running. We're going to have some cool thumbnails. Listen, if you want to make thumbnails for the show, let us know. We'll definitely shout you out, give you some credit. Or obviously, if you go to Mount St. Vincent, we'll try and finesse you, get a little bit of school internship credit, but we're not in a position to pay anyone. But if you want to make it, build your portfolio up, you're more than welcome to hit us up. I think it was a good show. Matt's going to be in this chair next week. We're going back and forth, so hopefully we can do this in the first take next time and not spend, God knows, 2 hours in here trying to edit this up and make sure it all works. Again, shout out to Bob. Shout out to Dr. Crownover for making this work. Yeah, AMCMSV22 on Twitter, AMCMSV22 on Instagram, AMCMSV22 on YouTube, and I think that's about it. Anything else?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and hopefully you guys are here for next Thursday.
See you next week.
Thank you.